On page 88, you should already have these notes copied down for the quadratic formula. When we first start using the quadratic formula, we are going to assume that you have no calculator. Because if you would have had a calculator and the problem says find the roots or solve, you would put the equation into y1, look at the table, look at the graph, and solve from there. And later on this quarter, we will talk about how you decide, if you have a calculator, which is the best way to solve them. So for right now, we're going to use the quadratic formula without a calculator. So when do you use the quadratic formula? Well, when you don't have a calculator, and if you're in standard form and factoring does not work. Or if you're really not good at solving by factoring, the quadratic formula works no matter what. If you don't want to have to solve using square roots, the quadratic formula will work no matter what. If you only want to focus on one way to solve quadratics besides the calculator, the quadratic formula works no matter what. So then you need to spend your time coming to Visa and practicing with this. So in order to use the quadratic formula, you first need to get the equation set equal to 0. So you might have to move some things around if it is not. You plug A, B, and C in the formula. And then you have to do the math without a calculator. Even if you have a calculator, you still need to simplify all the steps as you go through the same way you would without a calculator. Then you're going to simplify the radical. That means the tree, when you make that factor tree. And then sometimes you need to break into two answers. Sometimes you don't, but you definitely want to reduce. And when you reduce, you cannot use the number under radical. Once you simplify radical, you cannot simplify it again by reducing. And this is the quadratic formula that you have to remember. Negative b, and I put it in parentheses here, plus minus b squared minus 4a all over 2a. And these are all in parentheses, so you remember how to plug them in. And actually here, this parenthesis should be here. Negative, and then just b in parentheses. So why don't you fix that? So this parenthesis goes away, so it's negative, and then the b in parentheses. You should recognize this part of the quadratic formula from the axis of symmetry, equation, which is negative b over 2 times a. So this b out front here needs to be negative with the b in parentheses. And on page 89, make sure you have the heading and the directions that say solve using the quadratic formula. And we're going to work 2 problems. And we're going to do them in 2 columns. So we're going to work one down the left-hand side and the other down the right-hand side. And the first one is going to be x squared plus 11x plus 18 equals 0. And the second is going to be 2x squared plus x 9 equals 0. So make sure you have page 88 all written down with a couple extra things that I noted, and these examples on A9, and there will be 2 separate videos walking you through each of those examples.